Hello, and welcome back to Big Deb Energy Podcast, the podcast where, surprise, we talk about anything but politics. Quite frankly, I'm not educated enough. And also, I don't really care. Because if I did, I would have a panic attack. So instead, we're going to focus on other things, like trying to be better humans in today's world. We can only control how we're acting, right? So, with that being said, I will continue where I left off in our last episode. I spoke about basically when I was manipulated, I was cheating on my current boyfriend at the time with a coworker who slowly and suddenly became somebody who was controlling my life. And you heard all of that in the last episode. I don't have to get into how horrible it was, right? We don't need to dwell on that. But if you want to know the outcome, picture this. I was going back and forth with like the court. They weren't serving him. They weren't trying to make moves to find him. I was going to court. I went to court several times, showed up, took off of work, and like arranged my schedule around it. And I would sit there in court and he wouldn't show up. And if you've never been through something like this, it's like unless they're served in court, the restraining order don't go through. So I'm out here not knowing if he's like if he knows what's going on, if he knows that I reported him. I'm just scared. And like, I felt like we were not protected. I got cameras for the house, and then someone left something on our step. I go to look back at the camera footage, and I couldn't find it. I call, and they tell me that the cameras don't record. I'm like, what is the point? Like, literally when I signed up and I was on the phone with the lady, she like explained that we could play it back and all like, and then you try to stress to them how this could have been a serious situation. No one cares. It's just like throughout that whole process, I felt like no one cared about me. And yeah, I felt like shit. I felt like I almost deserved it because of what I did, but it was just hard. It was hard to even feel bad for myself. But yeah, like, oh my God, the cops, the court, no one cared. So I never actually went to court and got the restraining order. So for a very long time, I was on edge. I didn't know, like I said, if he knew what was going on. He never showed up and did anything, but I don't know if he was watching. I'll never know. So let's fast forward a year later. Now, mind you, throughout this whole time, I've not been able to sleep right at night. I have like PTSD. A year later, I'm in Colorado. I'm in Colorado, right? There is not a thought in my mind about this. This is a year later. And at this point, I'm like just getting over it. I'm at I'm at ease. I'm not as jumpy. I'm in a weed bar in Colorado, like 3 joints deep with my friend. I look down at my phone and the police is calling me. Instantly, my heart, I'm like, this can't be good. I'm like, hello? They're like, or was this, yeah, what's up? They're like, so we got the guy. I'm like, this is a year later. So now at this point, I'm annoyed because I feel like a year has gone by. I finally have gotten over, starting to get over the fear and you know, and now they want to do something. And you're calling me, and they're like, can you come to court tomorrow? I'm like, I'm not in the state. I'm in Colorado on vacation. Where have you been? It's been a year. And they're like, well, as soon as you come back, we need you in court. And I'm just like, this is a joke. This has to be a joke. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, at this point, I'm scared again now because it's like poking the bear. Like everything was fine. But yeah, I fucking showed up. Here's the thing. You know, I was on edge and I had screenshots that I printed out, saved in my car for months because when I was trying to report him, I actually, I'm so dumb sometimes. I grabbed the wrong pile of papers. I separated them. I took the not as bad pile, so I'm going to read them in court. Mind you, first of all, I'm partially deaf. I couldn't fucking hear the judge. I had to keep asking to repeat. I felt embarrassed. I was scared that he was there. And I just felt so embarrassed telling my story. All these people watching. But I took the wrong pile of papers. And when they asked me to read an example, I'm like going through them and I'm like, oh my God, I'm realizing it's not the pile of papers, but still, based off of what I had, they actually gave him 3 years probation and a restraining order to not just me, but everyone involved, my family by choice. So, but here's the thing, if he has any sense left, he knows deep down that I went easy on him because at that point a year went by. I didn't even want to be there. Even though he put me through that, it was just like he left us alone at that point. If he was just going to leave us alone, that's all I needed. And then bringing that back up made me feel like not safe again. It's like they kind of just contradicted the whole point. I when I was trying to explain my side in the courtroom, I kind of didn't go into detail of what went down. And he tried to lie and say that someone hacked his Instagram and that was the messages I was getting, that they weren't from him. So I was just pleading that I knew it was him because that's how we communicated and so forth. I didn't go into all the abuse, the PTSD, how I lost hours at work. I lost out on a promotion. I didn't get into all that and how the things he really did and said. So if he really has any fucking sense in him, he knows that deep down that I could have went harder and said a lot more. But I just pretty much got my point across, and he got a punishment, you know? But I didn't really need that. I just needed him to leave me alone and the people that I care about alone. And if you're wondering about the people that I lived with at the time and my relationship, so it took some time, but we were all able to make amends. And I still to this day apologize. But I think when people love you and understand you, they could see why and they could understand why you make choices that you made, even though it may have hurt them. And that's why I love those people and care about them, because I've done things to them that I know people would never speak to me again for. So I'm grateful. So it does have a happy ending. And one thing I'm realizing about my life is that I've been through some shit, as you could tell by listening. But also, if you have not realized by now, the pattern is that all of my stories do, in fact, have a happy ending. And I've failed to realize that till later in life. And I think a lot of us need to start focusing on how we could take the things that we go through and use that to lead us to a better and happier life, to change the world, to change who we are. If you're not happy with who you are, figure it out, write it down, set a goal for yourself. What is holding you back? Figure out what is holding you back and eliminate that from your life. You know, life is way too short to focus on what people want you to be. Start trying to figure out who you want to be. Because at the end of the day, all you have is you. You're your best friend and you're your biggest fan. And as the days go on, I'm trying to get better with that. And I'll help you too. But thank you for watching another episode of Big Deb Energy Podcast. And I will see you next time.